Alright. I'm back with a couple more thoughts. This is probably the last round I play today, so I kind of want to collect a few things on this whole thing. As I was reading some reviews the other day, a lot of people were complaining about this game not really feeling Resident Evil-y. Like, none of the characters from any of the previous games were mentioned, apparently. It's just all kind of like this whole independent story, new characters, nothing really tying it directly to Resident Evil games in the past. And a lot of people complained about this, and for me, like, I'm fine with it. One thing I feel like is untold throughout the years these Resident Evil games have come out. There's over a dozen of them by now. And you always are dealing with, like, the problem at the epicenter of the problem. Like, all these characters, like the Redfields and all them, like, they were dealing with the problem at ground zero, so to speak. And what you never really get an idea of in this universe is, like, the collateral damage of what Raccoon City did. Like, I mean, you get some idea, like, throughout the series, because you've got, like, the, Resident Evil 4 random village in Spain. But it's not even the same thing. It's something different. So I'm completely okay with them, taking a side story from what the humdrum of, like, the bioterrorism fight and all that stuff, and just dealing with, like, because, like, even in this world, random people get in fucked up situations every day. I mean, it just happens. And you throw in the guy lived in Texas, so it's not like he was traveling very far to Louisiana, but I'm just curious as to, like, the zombie outbreak, like, that issue, like, how big of a deal is that for people to, like, travel to Louisiana? Like, is that a threat down there in Texas and Louisiana in this universe? Like, zombies, Can they just gleefully travel to any town and just gas up and get food and be safe, not even have any concerns? Or, I'm just curious. I don't know. So, thoughts on the family. It would appear that Capcom wants you to believe that inbreeding will prevent you from fully being taken over by the T-virus or G-virus or whichever virus they're using right now in this game. And it just apparently makes you a super strong, inbred, weird redneck guy. Like, you don't morph or you don't, like, mutate. You don't develop anything that resembles bovine placenta. Like, none of that stuff happens. I guess if you have a certain, I don't know, certain amount of, like, genetic commonality between you and your ancestors in the gene pool, I don't really know. I know I shot that dude in the face a lot. And he looks relatively normal. And I was questioning his strength when he, shoved that, what I thought was a shovel through and sliced that cop's head off. But then you watch him just peel back the door off a car and peel back the top of that car back like a can of sardines. And you're just like, oh, okay. Clearly something more going on here. This isn't just a weird backwoods, uncivilized family just torturing people because that's how they get the kicks. Like, there's clearly more happening here. And with the black goo in the demo, clearly there's an infection monster. That monster from the bathroom or the basement is going to be there. So, and clearly your girlfriend reacting the way she did. There is an infection, something's spreading, but it's not your typical zombie stuff. It's different. Maybe we'll get into it more. They'll give more details, but either way, I'm perfectly okay with the path they've chosen to try to reinvigorate the series. And I think Louisiana is the best location for a horror story at all, with the background of, like, the voodoo and the Santeria and all its history, combined with the fact that, like, okay, I'm in this plantation out in the middle of the Louisiana bayou. Let's say best case scenario, I can escape that thing, but let's say, I don't know, old dude with the axe mangles my car, so I'm on foot. Okay, so I'm no longer a threat to them, but you know what they got in Louisiana all over the place in the bayou? Gators. So what? I'm going to get out of the house after I've been half bled to death and just, like, woozy and wander through 20, 30, 40 miles of wetlands hoping not to get eaten by a gator before I'm safe? So it's just like, okay, yeah, I'd like to see that, actually, in all the Resident Evil games end in, like the 2 or 3, whichever one, you end by taking a subway out, and then you're on a cliff and you're overlooking Raccoon City burning, and you're just like, all right, the game's over, and, like, we'll live to fight another day. But what they don't really get into is, like, what the moments after the credits roll when they look like, oh yeah, hey, we have no food, no water, we're in the middle of a goddamn desert, no transportation, we got a little bit of ammo, and we're also, like, really, really close to a nuclear blast zone. Curious as to how the rest of that experience went. Like, I feel like there's a game there. But either way, so, totally great. Really enjoying what I'm playing so far. Wish I was younger. Wish I didn't have, like, health concerns and I could actually really get into it more. But, like, so that last one, I can't do it. I can't sit there and tremble like that hard for 15, 20 minutes straight and not feel like I have to take a breather afterwards. I am not a young man anymore. I start getting these headaches and feel like I have to go to the doctor. It's not fun. So, anyway, yeah, very impressed so far. Loving what I'm seeing. Do not like chase scenes, but I mean, I've never liked them in anything. So, I mean, it's scaring the shit out of me, so it's doing its job. But that's why I really wasn't big on like Alien Isolation, although I wouldn't mind revisiting maybe now. I have another reason to, but I enjoyed Amnesia, but that's a little different. Like, it was more hide and seek. It wasn't like active pursuit as much. I mean, it could be depending on how good you were at the game, but yeah, like, being chased by and being completely helpless, like, that is so unnerving. And that was something I realized back in Resident Evil 2 with the game B, the B-side. After you beat the game with one character, you go back and play the B-side with the other character, which is an ingenious game development technique, and I'm astonished nobody else ever tried anything like that. That made that game one of the best games of all time, because you can actually play the game 4 different times and experience 4 different experiences. Like, they built an inherent system into the game that made you want to play it 4 times through. Like, why aren't people copying that? Why? I don't, either way. I digress. But yeah, no, when in the second game through, when you had to deal with that dude I think they called him Mr. T, it was just the gigantic zombie-like thing that wasn't really a tyrant, he wasn't really a zombie, he was just kind of something in between. Anyway, he would just pursue you, throughout the game. He couldn't open doors, but there were some times when he could bash through walls, very similar to what Daddy did there. Yeah, that's a throwback to that scene. I ain't gonna lie, I reacted the same way Resident Evil 2 when that dude jumped through the wall around the interrogation room as I did when that dude just jumped through his own hallway wall. Like, I about wet myself then, I about wet myself now. I don't know. I guess for most people, I don't know if you're complaining about this not feeling like Resident Evil. Like, if you're old like me, you could probably acknowledge that the way Resident Evil 0, 1, 2, and 3 were, like, that formula, that gameplay style is not going to work anymore. Like, you have to let that go. Between that and the myriad of people who were copying that style at the time on PlayStation 1, like, it was just awful, awful games that controlled that way. And Resident Evil had to change or get swept up in that tide. So that's fine. That's why they changed to 4. They kind of reinvented themselves then, and it worked a lot better with the future consoles. Like, the still frame moving on a still background was definitely a child born out of system restriction. It wasn't something that people really strive to. It was just a coincidence. It worked really well. But once you get to PlayStation 2, like, you don't need that anymore. You're not bound by that restriction. So the game needed to make a change. Otherwise, it was going to start to feel a little, stale. And even I would like to see maybe some smaller ones made in that old style, but it's strictly nostalgia. It's not necessarily going to be good. I don't expect anybody younger than me that didn't enjoy the old games from, the PlayStation 1 era when they came out to want to play a game like that. Because, like, my son can't play games like that. That tank control, like, you just can't do it. And there's so many other things to play now. Why in the world would you, dedicate enough time to get good at that method of control when none of that translates to any other game, When you went to rent a game back in the day, when you didn't just have, like, GameFly or Steam, where you could just, the internet, like, yeah, this is the internet. You chose a game, you rented it, you got to play it for a couple days. That's what you got. Your choices were limited to what that movie store had if you lived in a rural area like me. So yeah, like, you rent a game and it ain't what it was wrapped up to be. You just got to play it and get good. Otherwise, you blew your chance to play a game that week. So this was what it was. And again, I would like to see some of the older style kind of reinvented. And there's rumor, that they're going to redo 2, like they did redo 0, like kind of remaster it. And I'm on board for that. The moment they confirm that, let me pay for it, I'm doing it. I don't even care if it's a year before it comes out. Like, they need to know that I want that to happen, and I'm willing to give them, I don't know, for 2. I think I paid $30 for 0. I might be willing to pay $60 for 2. It kind of just depends on what you're adding in. Of a remaster, maybe. I'd pay $40, hands down, no thoughts. $60, I might wait for a sale, maybe, but that's a big maybe. And it kind of depends on what else I got going on. If I ain't got shit to play, I'm paying $60. But so yes, very happy with where the game's going. Very excited to continue. Very excited to let myself calm down enough to actually be able to do that. Yes, very excited about this game. Not upset at all. I paid full price for it. It is so far. It is achieving what I hoped it would.